It started with the weirdest little beep. Not the kind of sound that makes you leap out of bed, but just annoying enough to make my wife stop mid-sip while we were having our morning coffee. She looked at me and laughed, saying maybe her purse was haunted. Then her phone buzzed a message. Unknown AirTag detected near you. She shrugged, figured it was her yoga friend Mia's, who's always losing stuff in her bag, but I wasn't so sure. That chirp kept going. Tiny, high-pitched, insistent, coming from her purse. Now I know that sound. I helped write the privacy protocols for AirTags at Apple, so when I hear that, I don't just ignore it. I dumped her purse out like TSA on a bad day, searching every pocket lip balm keys the world's oldest granola bar. Nothing obvious. Then I unzipped the inside lining, and there it was, an AirTag taped to a piece of cardboard wrapped up in a napkin like some tech mummy. My stomach just dropped. I scanned it. Serial number clear as day. This thing was still active, still linked to someone's Apple ID, not deactivated or lost, which meant it wasn't just a mistake. Somebody had stuck it there on purpose, and I'll be honest, my hands shook a little. I logged into my work terminal. Thank you employee clearance, and pulled up the full tracking log. Every stop my wife had made in the past week was listed groceries, her sister's house dropping off at our daughter's school, even a quick trip to the vet. Someone had been watching her, closely. She sat down, face pale. "Is this like stalker-level bad?" she whispered. And I just looked at her because there was no way to soften it. Yes, it was stalker-level bad. Whoever did this, they knew what they were doing, wrapping it up, muting the sound, hiding it in her purse like a pro. Not some clueless neighbor or dumb prankster. Someone who knew my wife's routine got close enough to plant it without getting caught. We both turned and looked out the window. And there, 2 houses down, standing behind a hedge with her binoculars and coffee mug, was Karen. HOA president, self-declared queen of our block, smile so tight you could bounce a quarter off it. She waved. "If you think I'm exaggerating, let me give you the Karen highlight reel. 12-page complaints about our garden gnome, photo evidence of trash cans left out 5 minutes late, calling a board meeting to debate if Halloween decorations were suburban terrorism. But this was different. This was criminal. I flagged the AirTag in Apple's system, and within minutes it lit up. The device was registered to Karen's iPad. No last name needed. The ID had her whole digital life, her husband's phone, old Apple Watch, even a dusty iPod Touch. All linked. That's when things clicked for my wife, the way Karen stood a little too close last week. The weirdly specific comment about our vet visit, the one nobody else knew about. Karen had been tracking her. Not only that, but we caught her on our porch camera dropping off one of her infamous warning letters, and just a second later sliding her hand into my wife's tote. Gotcha in full HD. We pulled together all the proof screenshots, camera footage, everything, and marched it to the local police station. The first cop we talked to honestly acted like we were making a big deal out of nothing. "It's just an AirTag, not a weapon," he smirked. But I laid out the whole story, my background with Apple, the tracking logs, the video, the fact that Karen had to trespass to do it. That got his attention. Next thing I know, we're talking to a detective. Sharp-focused, not the kind to get thrown by a little HOA drama. She took one look at the logs and asked, "Has this woman ever threatened you?" Before I told her about the letters, the constant surveillance, how Karen always seemed to know too much. That was enough for her. She opened a case electronic stalking illegal surveillance. We went home, and there's Karen perched across the street, smug as ever. My wife ducked inside, but I stood out on the porch and just stared her down. Didn't say a word. I wanted her to feel it. I wasn't just some random neighbor. I was the guy who helped build the system she tried to abuse. That night I ran a silent scan for every Bluetooth device she owned. Not just curiosity, call it righteous anger. Turns out she'd done this to at least 3 other neighbors. One was a teenage girl, another a new mom, the third a woman who had complained about feeling watched. Karen wasn't just nosy, she was serial. I left anonymous notes in mailboxes warning people, including the detective's contact info. Now there was a pattern, real evidence. No one could brush it off. Next day, a deputy showed up at our door. We gave him everything: the tag, the video signal maps. He was freaked out, said if the stories from other neighbors checked out, Karen could be facing real charges. But Karen wouldn't go quietly. That afternoon, she marched up in her crisp HOA uniform, clipboard, and all with a smile so fake it hurt to look at. "I hear you're spreading rumors. If this defamation continues, I'll be forced to call the authorities." I just stared. "Karen, we have you on camera. The AirTag was registered to your iPad. It's in the detective's hands now. You should probably stop talking." For the first time, she looked rattled. Then she stormed off and called the police on us for harassment. Cop comes over, hears both sides, and as soon as he sees my folder of evidence, he just shakes his head and says he'll forward it all to the detective. That night, our neighborhood group chat blew up. Tanya, the new mom, posted about finding a strange AirTag under her stroller. At first thought it was nothing, then got my note. Suddenly, 2 more women say the same thing. One of them writes, "Whoever warned me, thank you. I feel sick. I have kids." The story spread fast. Now Karen wasn't just a pain. She was the neighborhood villain. Later that night, I got a notification one of Karen's devices was pinging a new AirTag. She hadn't stopped. This time, though, I had my system set to send an automated legal warning. "You are being monitored for ongoing electronic tracking violations." Evidence submitted to law enforcement. Not sure if she got it, but the next morning her husband's phone and her devices started going dark, logging out one by one. She was trying to vanish. Too late. Within a day, her digital life was in lockdown. Apple ID banned every device flagged. The audit was running. Law enforcement got a warrant rolled up in unmarked cars and walked out with boxes of electronics. Karen and her husband just stood there, faces white as sheets. My wife and I watched from our window. No gloating, just quiet relief. Later, the detective thanked us for the documentation. "You probably just helped stop a serial offender," she said. The fallout was wild. The HOA called an emergency board meeting, stripped Karen of every position, started combing through old complaints. Apple sent a letter to the HOA laying out the privacy violations and warning about the abuse of their products. They asked the HOA to start mandatory digital safety education for residents. Our neighborhood even put up a public art piece, a giant fake AirTag with a plaque in memory of oversight. "May we all mind our own business." Subtle, but everyone knew. Karen's house went up for sale practically overnight. No open house, no help packing. She left like a shadow, watching her kingdom of petty control collapse one box at a time. We didn't wave, we just let her go. A few weeks later, I got an email from Apple's privacy team. They wanted to use our case anonymized, of course, as part of new user education. They even asked if I'd record a voiceover about digital boundaries and the dangers of abusing tech. I said yes. Not out of revenge, but because this wasn't just about Karen. It was about drawing a line, what happens when you cross it and what it takes to fight back. To top it off, I made a little prank for the neighborhood. A fake AirTag painted silver blinking harmlessly by the HOA sign. Most people laughed, a few rolled their eyes, but nobody missed the point. And life went on. My wife got a promotion at work. My daughter won first prize for a school project on digital safety. Our street, our yard, our silly garden gnome all felt like ours again. No more fear. Just quiet. Just normal. Karen picked the wrong family to mess with. Not because we were louder or meaner, but because we knew how to shine a light where she tried to hide. You know what I mean? Sometimes the right thing to do isn't dramatic. It's just persistent, careful, and honestly a little bit petty. She tried to weaponize surveillance. In the end, all she did was expose herself one beep at a time. So, let's hear. Was I right to go all in, or did I go too far? Where do you draw the line between privacy and protection in a community? Drop your thoughts below, because trust me, it's never just about the tech. It's about who you trust to use it.